Hello friends, welcome to Take Two for this Thursday, the 7th of November, 2019. I'm Jeannie. So glad you decided to come along for the ride this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, wherever in the world you might be listening and watching from. Well, I am glad that you are here. Today is a special day in my family. Well, it was for many, many, many years. Actually, now it's not celebrated by anybody anymore, and that is due to the fact that it was my parents' wedding anniversary. Now, my mother and father married in 1952. So today would have been their 67th wedding anniversary. Now, of course, they're both gone, but my mother always still remembered it and always still got a special flutter in her heart every November 7th that subsequently came and went after my father's passing in 2002. See, my parents got to be married for 48 and a half years, and we were planning big things for them. We wanted very much to be able to give them a big 50th wedding anniversary party, but sadly we never even had that opportunity. So let me show you a couple of pictures because I'm waxing nostalgic on this Throwback Thursday. This picture right here, take a look at this picture. This is my father, a very, very young Frank Perrano, standing in front of a vintage microphone holding a script. Now let me tell you about this picture. My father worked in broadcasting for decades. He retired from CBS News television in New York, but prior to that, he had worked at a couple of different television stations, including WPIX, Channel 11 in New York. But way back prior to that, he started in broadcasting in radio. So if there's any wonder where I get it, my father started his broadcasting career in radio. So this picture was taken of him. I don't even think he knew my mother when this was taken, but he had a copy of this little picture, and he wrote on the back of it, "Announcing my love for you, love, Frank." And he gave it to my mother just at the time of their engagement. My mother carried that teeny weeny little picture with her forever. As a matter of fact, we found it in her wallet after her passing last year. And of course, we got quite emotional about it. But the fact is that she had loaned it to me to take a picture of a picture, and a friend of mine restored it, and we made an 8x10 of it. And this was very prominently displayed when we had Ram FM radio, and it was dedicated to him, the studio. But that was what my dad probably looked like when he stole my mother's heart. Well, many years passed, of course, and here they are many years later. They love to cruise and vacation and do all sorts of fun things together. Here they are at a party, and this was towards the end of my father's life. You could see he wasn't doing too well there. And again, another vacation that they took. I think this picture may have been taken in St. Martin in the Virgin Islands. They just love to travel and do things. But prior to all of that, their retirement years, they were busy raising a family. They raised me and my sister Fran, and my father was very devoted to his family and very devoted to my mother. Likewise, my mother was quite devoted to my father as well. You see, that's what it's about. You don't last 48 and a half years without being devoted to one another. And you know, if they hadn't gotten ill and hadn't passed on, and here they would have been in their 90s now and married 67 years, my guess is that devotion would have been just as strong, if not stronger, than it was the day they said "I do" in 1952. I only hope and pray that I could have that kind of joy and excitement and love and devotion in my heart, which I believe I will, with my husband when we're married 67 years, if we make it. We are getting ready to have our 35th in a couple of weeks, and I know I'm very devoted, and I love my husband that way. But just looking at these pictures of Frank and Mary, they were frickin' frack. You'd never see one without the other. And then suddenly, when it was just my mother, it was so peculiar. But she never, ever lost her devotion for my father. It was buried deep in her heart, and it will always always be in our memories of how devoted these two were to one another. So I encourage you, boys and girls, if you're not devoted to your loved ones, maybe this is the time that you take stock of the importance and value of relationship. Don't take things for granted. Don't take your marriages for granted. Don't take your children for granted. Don't take your parents for granted. Don't take your loved ones for granted, your co-workers, your church family. Be devoted, because there's nothing in the whole wide world like that feeling of being devoted and someone having devotion to you, okay? Now listen, go out and be a blessing to somebody today. You might end up being the only one who is. Go be devoted to somebody today. Pick up that phone, send a text, write a letter, get a pen in your hand and a piece of paper, and let somebody know how much you appreciate them and how you are devoted to them, okay? Now, also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jeanne Sigler, Jeanne Sigler. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time another Take Two is posted. You're not going to say one more thing. I've been in the kitchen cooking this morning, and someone in our church had surgery, so I said I'll cook a meal and I'll bring it over and deliver it to their house. And I was cooking one of my mother's favorite recipes, and when I put it in my mouth, it's something I haven't cooked in a long time, and when I put it in my mouth, it just a million memories came flooding back, and I thought, wow, Mom, you were devoted to cooking and feeding your family, and that rubbed off. So thank you for that gift that you gave me, but we'll save that for another time, okay? Giving gifts and letting your gifts be your legacy. We'll talk about that next week. Meanwhile, tomorrow is Friday, so I will have my unsung hero of the week. So you be well, take care, have a fabulous Thursday. Mwah, I love you. I'll see you all tomorrow. Devotion, that's where it's at. Bye-bye.